Hello there, beautiful soul humans. Welcome, welcome. I am RozyGlow Hannis. I'm the founder of StarPeace, and I have the lovely Kahreela An-Ra with me here today for an impromptu conversation about Three Eye Atlas, unicorns, Pegasus, dragonflies, and what we call, the year of the fire horse and what's actually coming in terms of these energies. Now, Karila, I'm going to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself in a moment. If you have landed here, dear ones, remember you're here on purpose. So whether you're catching this in the Facebook group or we are on YouTube, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for just sharing the love because we're here to reach those who have a soul assignment to connect with us. So this is the clarion call to say, hey, we're here. This is what we're doing. You're in the right place. You landed on planet Earth just at the right time for all the amazing things that are going on. And I personally am here to herald this idea that we can co-create peace on Earth in one generation. That's what StarPeace is all about. And in particular, through my RozyGlow methodology, what we do is we make the shift from surviving to thriving in our physiology, in our mental capacity, our emotional capacity, and then our spiritual connection. So I just wanted to set that foundation before we talk because the wisdom that's going to come from this amazing oracle and channel and the information I've been getting through independently was like why we wanted to come together and have this conversation on what is it, Monday morning? Yes, it's
Yeah.
Monday morning here, man. So over to you, Karila. How would you like to introduce yourself today?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm a channel and a land tantra practitioner. My company is called Starlight Dash Temple, and Starlight offers channelings and courses and ceremonies and land tantra adventures that are all processes for embodied ascension.
Exactly. I think you've just hit the nail on the head with embodied ascension because there are a lot of beautiful light workers, star seeds, light leaders, empaths out in this world who are feeling the sensitivities that come with us being tuned into higher frequencies, but are not entirely integrated and grounded and earthed. And I think this was
Mhm.
one of the most powerful messages that came through in your channeling around Three Eye Atlas, which this was actually why I wanted to have this conversation because I want as many people as possible to have access to the replay.
Mm.
When I didn't catch it live, so I caught the replay and it was like ping, 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 all the things I've been feeling and seeing. And actually, it's so important because part of it, and you can explain it in your own words, is about receiving back something that has we've been separate from for so long, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And just before we go into that, for anyone who's like, what are they talking about with Three Eye Atlas? In case you didn't get the memo, there's this unidentified object flying, crossing the back of the sun, coming near to Earth around the solstice. That is unprecedented. The astrologers didn't know it was coming, right? It's not something that anyone has predicted. And some are saying it's a comet, some are saying it's an alien invasion. I mean, I've heard all sorts. For me, I believe it is the Trojan Horse of PEACE, and I'll come into that a little bit later. What about you, Karila? Where do you want to start with that?
Well, I think when Three Atlas first appeared to me, I ignored it. Because I'm actually for somebody that channels aliens, I'm quite cynical about everything that's on the internet. I was like, oh, that sounds like craziness. And when when the universe, I was ignoring it. It was coming a lot, and I was ignoring it a lot. And literally, Spirit got another channel to get in touch with me and be like, Karela, you need to look into Third Eye Atlas. It is actually a thing. And so I started looking into it and and what was amazing to me actually was the important times that Three Eye Atlas is doing something. We're timing with big land ceremonies, and that's what gave it integrity to me. That I was like, okay, there is something in this, and it is important. And my guide's view on it is that they're like it's both. It's aliens and it's nature. Because just like on Earth, we have technology and we have nature and we have consciousness. They were like, it's all of those things. You can't say it's one or the other. It's it is technology, but it's not just technology. It's also technology woven with natural substance and its consciousness and its many things. I believe probably that what is most important about it is actually its name,
Yeah.
because even though it's been named after the space site that saw it, Atlas is the father of the Pleiades. And so we are working with what I believe is like a God force
Mm.
that has a role that happens before the Pleiades do their role. And I believe this role is so the Pleiadians are the ones that really coded the earth, and they still code the earth. And I believe the father of the Pleiades is the one that comes and prepares the space for the new coding. And
Mm.
that's what's important, not whether it's an alien or
Mm. Yeah, I love that you're taking it to that actually, because this is the point, isn't it? It's any my one of my teachers has also been channeling information about three outlets, and she was saying that it's a mirror. It's basically amplifying whatever is going on in any one of us and helping us to see where we're separate, where we're unified. And really, we're all going to have different interpretations of it. But if we look at what it's bringing us to, it is the opportunity to recalibrate with the Paradise Earth codes, with the original template of this planet as a paradise planet, with us as divine humans. And I honestly, whenever I tune into it, I see it as a big wooden horse on fire, right? That actually has all these little light beings in it. It's just full of light codes, right?
yeah.
And they're kind of coming back to us. It's like a gift. And all these old sayings, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You know,
Mm,
if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. You want to have your cake and eat it. These all these old statements have been coming up for me, which are like, oh, this was the programming. This was the
mm,
programming that kept us separate.
mm.
And we are all being activated. I didn't have any idea I did land work. You talk about things, I'm like, oh, I do that. Oh, I didn't know. And and we all have our own directive, right? And
Mhm.
so recognizing your brilliance is like so wonderful because it helps me recognize mine, and we all light each other up in this way of seeing what we're bringing at this point, right? And I think what I'd love you to do, if you don't mind, is just to share a little bit more about what you took people through in the session you did with Three Atlas, because even what you just said there, 3i to me is the third eye, right? And
Yeah.
that's the Pleiades. My
Mhm.
portal is the Pleiadian portal. That's where everything comes through for me.
Yeah.
And as you know, and we had these separate conversations, like where did Pegasus come from? Why is it?
Pegasus comes in later. Like I think there is a connection to Pegasus and the three eye. But I feel like I agree, three eye. We words are codes. Names are codes. There is more in the name than there is in a whole paragraph on the internet. There really is. In terms of what it does for our consciousness and things like that. So I agree, there is a massive shift that it is causing in our third eye.
Mm,
And what my guidance about Three Eye Atlas is, to understand it, you kind of have to understand the other astrology because it's not just Three Eye Atlas. We have This year, we have come to the astrological completion of the karma of separation consciousness. That has nothing to do with Three Eye Atlas. That's to do with all of the other planets that regularly tell the time. And
mm,
it's in Western and Vedic astrology that we have come to the completion of our collective karma, and the karma of separation. And so up until this year, we haven't actually had the ability to not operate in separation consciousness because we've still been in the karma of it. And so um, there have been exceptions, which we can refer to as the ascended masters, like Buddha and Jesus. But otherwise, everybody else has had to live with a certain degree of separation consciousness because that was our karma. And so the completion of our karma is really, really important in terms of what Three Eye Atlas is doing because um what my so all of the planets, the outer planets that are called the gods of change in astrology, changed signs this year, one of them last year, but they changed in a shorter period of time than has ever been seen in astrology before. And then this winter, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, they've changed back. And the change back, my guides say, is when we go into what's called the time of the karmic reward, because the reason that the soul does a karmic cycle is for the reward at the end. And that reward is literally like the soul gets woven with a new essence, essentially. And
Mm,
every single human being on earth, up until this point in time, has lived without their karmic reward. And their karmic reward is different depending on what their soul has chosen. So it might be peace, it
mm,
might be worthiness, it might be confidence, but you have spent your entire life without it. And in a way, it's because it's actually quite hard for us to be separated.
mm,
You know, if in order to have separation consciousness, which is essentially anti the laws of the universe, we've
mm,
had to have something missing from
mm,
our wholeness.
mm,
And so in order to have separation consciousness and fulfill our karma, we've all been we've all been walking around with a hole
mm,
inside of us.
mm,
And this time, this winter, in preparation for the year of the horse and what's next, has been this um it's this time for us to integrate with our soul's karmic reward and bring it back into embodiment. Simultaneously, there are many forces at play to help us. It's divinely timed that this planetary thing is happening in the year of the snake, because the year of the snake is the year where you initiate from the inside out, and actually where your path cycle initiates.
mm,
So your path, the next cycle of your path starts in the year of the snake,
mm,
inside of you, not outside of you.
mm.
And Three Eye Atlas, at the same time that this karmic completion journey is happening, I believe, is changing the coding in the sun. Because to have an age, in order to have an age, we have a field of perception. And that field of perception is filtered through the Akashic that is the age of Pisces, which is the age we're coming out of. And in order for the new age, it's like the filter needs to be changed to the filter of Aquarius. And I believe that the role that Atlas does, as in the father of the Pleiades, and the being slash comet slash spaceship that is working with the sun, is changing over the coding
Mm,
so that our range is no longer Piscean, so that our filter of perception is no longer Piscean, so that it is Aquarian. And this change is partly how we can embody something we haven't had before.
I'd really love to speak to this quickly, if that's okay, because I'm getting so many real things that have happened in my life as you've shared this. So first of all, like for those of you who are listening, let's really ground this. What does this mean? How many of you have felt your whole life like you have a hole inside of you, that something is missing? That, I used to wake up as a 12-year-old and cry every day because I just felt like I had this empty, endless pit in me, right? That I
Mhm.
didn't know how to fill, whether it was food, whether it was sex, whether it was smoking, whether it was whatever, like wanting to fill this void that felt so scary to go to the edge of. And then you're talking about the year of the snake and the shedding and the change coming from within. Well, I'm
Mhm.
really perceiving that as instead of something being forced on us that we have to change. So, you know, you have a health condition, which means you have to stop doing something. We're actually in our own inner being going, you know what, this doesn't resonate with me anymore. You know, this way of showing up, this habit, this pattern, this ritual, it's not me, right?
Mm.
And then when you talk about three eye Atlas and Atlas being the father, I'm really hearing the structures because we've been in this Virgo Piscean axis as well of the structures that we've all been creating as the architecture of the new earth that allow us to then flip our perception filter from surviving to thriving, right? The sun coding, as you just said, so that we can actually see through the template that life has our back. Life loves us. Life wants us to be happy. And that
Mhm.
is how we see the world. So all those threats, you know, we're in this nearly Gemini full moon energy now, right? It's like friend or foe, friend or foe, friend or foe. And it's like, which way will you look at this?
Mm.
Are you going to decide
And
what's happening?
there's a grand cross with the full moon of the nose.
Right. So it's a
So
real
it really is like time to choose your destiny.
yeah. Yeah. I really feel that. I think a lot of us are having the sense of, well, if I carry on down this road, I know what's coming.
Hmm.
I can predict what's coming. Right. Whereas if I go down this road, I know what I want, I know what I'm lining myself up with, but it's not familiar. And I don't know how to be yet in this, which is what we're
Mm.
to.
And we don't know how to be the you know, we do not have in our ancestral nervous systems the map for how to do this. This is why it is so important to be in contact with guides and star beings and soul star family and multi dimensions because they can give us the map that our ancestral nervous system does not have. It does not have the technology or the map to be able to do this. It only has the technology and the map to be able to survive. And so, in many ways, we have to override our own nervous systems, which is incredibly hard to do. And in fact, my guides go as far as to say that the reason physical ascension has failed every time is because of the nervous system.
Yeah. Look, you're giving me the perfect plug for the map, right? Because the star maps are here, right? This has literally just landed over the weekend, and these
Mm.
are in the book. So they're the 9 star maps that are, like you say, recalibrating our nervous system from surviving to thriving. And I'm with you in the sense that if we go back down through our bloodlines, most of us are wired to whatever the big trauma was at the original point of trauma, right? Whenever that was. And you know, you and I both know oh, what's her name now? Completely left my brain. Blonde lady. Speakers thing that we did because I want to go back to the blue the purple comet.
Laura.
Laura, that's right. Yeah. So Laura did a session with me that really helped me to unlock my what was a terrible fear of visibility and owning my leadership, which was around this huge massacre back in the time pre-Lemuria, I think it was Mu. It was when I had originally come to this planet, bringing the codes, feeling certain that we were creating this paradise reality, just following the rules. And then this became a refugee planet. It's interesting what's kind of playing out at the moment in the collective as well. And then, you know, all the light beings were massacred in front of my eyes, including me. So if anyone's having a reality memory thing going on now, just remember we're clearing it from our fields, right? It's coming up and out because it's not our truth. But we've kept anchoring to that point and not to the codes that were originally imprinted, as I understand it, in our sort of divine human DNA, right? And that's what we're being called to access, which we can only really do through our soul. And actually bringing that energy back in and weaving it through all of these moments that we were separated because of trauma. Right? We created separation through trauma.
Yeah, I completely agree. Our inner system, our ancestral system, is designed to be to survive in trauma and in separation, and Um, a lot of that is very, very ancient. And the more work you do, the more you're like, oh, back in Atlantis again.
A long time, Atlantis. Let's remember that.
Really? But that's because partly because the age of Leo is Atlantis was the age of Leo, which is opposite Aquarius. So in a way, that's what where we're having to do the karmic work on that. They're like the nodal polarities of each other. Um, and so um and for me, codes are how we remap ourselves. You know, it's like because we cannot lean to the past and what the body does ancestrally, we need these codes to come in and provide new maps for us essentially. And they come through cards, they come through transmissions, they come through land tantra, they come in many ways, but they're incredibly effective for remapping, for giving you navigation tools for this unknown paradigm that really is it's so beautiful actually when you manage to be in the field of it, as I'm sure you know. It's it's so i- incredibly beautiful and amazing and blissful and exquisite. And the big thing right now is really how do we receive it?
Mm.
You know, how do we immerse in it and create from it and choose it? And I think that there's lots of different things. One is working with Three Eye Atlas because when there is changes happening in the sun is is the center. It means that the core of our truth has the ability to change, which actually doesn't off. You know, the sun isn't seasonal, it isn't alchemical, it doesn't have change happen very often. So we have this amazing opportunity right now to field work with a change that is happening in something that doesn't happen very often.
Mm.
Um, the other, this has been particular, this was a bit of guidance that came through Japan, actually, where I am, but the spirit of Japan was like, Kahreela, start understanding that your no is a yes. Like when you're saying no, you aren't saying no. You're not causing an ending. You're saying yes to something else. Like while you're too scared to have something change, while you're too attached, while you're not willing to say the no, what you're doing is you're stopping the yes
Mm.
of the thing that you can't even imagine right now. And so I think saying no to things, even when we don't know what the other option is really important.
Yeah. That sounds like it's the conscious choices we're all making
Mm,
actually that align us more with our soul. Because again, just to come back to you saying about the nervous system and our ancestral nervous system, this is my previous work was all very much in epigenetic trauma and how it passes from one generation to the next. And only yesterday I was having a conversation with three of the most phenomenal birth keepers in this world, right? So blessed. Dr. Francoise Friedman, Julie Heerland, and also Vanessa Brooks. And this was a previous hat I used to wear a lot, right? But, birth is so important in relation to peace on earth because how we prepare to nurture our children from the start of having a healthy relationship to conception to pregnancy to birth to the nurturing period is literally how we get wired to thrive rather than survive. And it's a relearning, right, at the moment.
I'm I'm so glad you've brought this up, actually. I'm so amazed that we've come to birth because and this links into Pegasus as well. Um, so I agree that birth is really, really important. And one of the ways that separation consciousness was managed, what we have to understand is that it's really hard to be in separation consciousness. So lots of things had to be kind of done to create a landscape where we could have generations live in separation consciousness. And one of the things that was done was the loss or the forgetting of ceremonies that stop separation consciousness from happening. And the one that I'm that's really relevant to the land tantra that's happening in Japan is so Japan and Mount Fuji are guardians of the Gaia portal chakra, which is the chakra that is on the soles of our feet and in the earth. And the guides say that this chakra, which is the chakra for full-bodied receptivity, so it is the chakra that teaches us to receive unconditionally. This chakra develops, it forms while we are being breastfed. And their view, and this is not to criticize anybody because we are all children of the patriarchy and children of separation, but in order to explain the misdevelopment of this chakra, they're like, you have to understand that if a baby is not being breastfed fully, which means with full presence and with full love and being met every time that child cries with only love, the chakra doesn't develop properly.
Mm.
And what happens is the chakra then becomes so the chakra energetically develops scar tissue that says my needs will not be met. Or they might not be met. They might be met sometimes, but they might not be met other times. And these are emotional needs as well as physical ones.
Mm.
And what that causes in this chakra is a compression, which means I'm going to compress my needs because they might not be met. So the best thing to do to survive is compress my needs.
Everyone I work with,
Everyone, right?
everyone I work with.
Everyone. Is it possible for me to share? Because I'm going to
Share
request
screen.
to
Hold on.
share.
Yeah, go for it.
And so, and this is also the feeling of shame.
Yeah.
When that chakra is compressed, what you get is a feeling of shame. A feeling, and then when it's compressed, you don't just receive, you negotiate because you don't know how to receive. So you negotiate. And me, and nearly every light worker I know does this. They need something and they don't just receive it, they negotiate for it with spirit, with source, with other people,
Mhm.
And so
Wow. That's
part of the land tantra that's happening at this moment in time, which relates to Pegasus, crazily, is so I'm just going to show you this.
show me. And
So
well, I'm just seeing we've
this
got people joined us. So make sure you say hello, those of you who are here. And if you've got any questions, please let us know. Carry on. Sorry, Kahreela.
this is the compressed Gaia portal chakra. This is what it looks like. And the land tantra that's happening at the moment
Can you share
is,
it again?
yeah. So this is the
Yeah.
current Gaia portal chakra for most of humanity. The land tantra that's happening at the moment
Is that there you
is
have seven
to,
chakras, which will keep you looping in cycles of karma because you're not connected up. Love it. Look at that.
is
Exactly.
to activate the Gaia portal, which is what it should be like.
And this is the giving from an overflowing cup, right?
Yes. And from fullness, which is peace.
Yeah,
But
baby.
one of the things that the guides have been teaching about is how that Gaia portal gets dropped is colostrum. So the golden milk that is first produced by the breast is meant to be ceremonially placed on the baby's feet. And that helps the Gaia portal to drop into that bowl-like shape, which then means that the baby comes into the chakra starts to develop with a connection to the golden grid of the earth, the soul plan, the Akashic body, everything like that.
Mm.
And um, how Pegasus comes into all of this. And then I really want to hear about your um, guidance on Pegasus. Is that one of the things that we've been working with for the Land Tundra for this is Mount Sinai has been working with Mount Fuji to help the collective Gaia portal to drop in alignment with what's going on with Three Eye Atlas and everything like that. And the day that we were both tuning into Pegasus and you were messaging me about Pegasus, is the guys were saying that, Pegasus is really the Pegasus horses, because there are more than one, is really they're the guardians of where the golden thread go. And in that, when the Gaia portal was compressed, like the golden thread, which is truth, didn't reach the Gaia portal. It's again how we lived in separation consciousness. Our voice wasn't anchored into the Gaia portal. And so one of the things that the Pegasus are doing is they're carrying the golden threads of the divine into this great drop. They're taking it all the way down. And I feel like that's got, I think it's got wings for the year of the fire horse. Your truth has to be full-bodied. It is in this new field, in this new age, if it's not embodied, if it's not dropped all the way down into your Gaia portal, then you're living the old karma.
And that is why this is a fire horse, because it is the burning away, the
Hmm.
it's just roasting them. So, okay, well, I think at this point, I'll share what came through for me around Pegasus, and this is so relevant and it's so interesting because I love the complexity in which you can sort of share things, and I know for me the way that I'm taught and the way I teach is simple structures, right? Because that's what allows me to live as a multidimensional being. And for a really long time, I've been given the guidance, especially through the multidimensional yoga I teach online, to really be activating soul and earth chakras and making
Mm.
sure that these are really active. They're outside of the body, but they're essential to
Mm.
carry this journey through. And then it's like most recently, like in my private graduate membership, it's like, right, we're going right down to the center of the earth this year. We've got to anchor right down to the center, whatever our relationship with this is. That's where safety, peace, security is seeded. And then
Mm.
when I look at our kind of sovereignty grid, if you like, I see the crystal grid, the divine heart grid, the divine mind grid, all working horizontally, but we've got to have our light body activated, our sphere. Like I've given 4 lines, literally, really simple. This is my work with people, is to strengthen those so that they can then carry this frequency. And I think
Mm.
anyone who knows about like Reiki attunements, you don't do it all in one go, right? There's a reconstruction and a deconstruction. And that's why I was talking about the RozyGlow methodology, because a lot of people are like, what do you do? I'm like, I don't just talk about StarPeace and go online. I run courses that help people recalibrate from being wired to survive to being wired to thrive. And my background is being terrified. I come from extreme fear, right? I know most people don't, but for me, I'm a jumpy nervous system wreck, right? Or was. So the process of being on this journey so that the new me, which is actually the original me, right,
Mm.
is owning the space and able to positively anticipate change,
Mm.
new, without that terror and despair of what is foreboding and we think is coming. And I really want to share this with people because if you're listening, you're like, oh, yeah, I know that bit. I know that bit. I get it. It's that bottomless
Mm.
pit. And all we have to do is bring our light into it. And everyone I'm seeing is kind of going through like putting new structures in place and then destructuring other elements. And it's happening just like birth, just like building a house. It's messy, right? It
Mm.
doesn't all happen in a beautiful, graceful, and easy way. And we don't like that because we love our packaging on everything, like Instagram and the marketing spiel. It's like, no, this is real work. So Pegasus, I started to see Pegasus, like I was actually given a Pegasus unicorn holographic card a few months ago in a book that Greg Braden wrote, which is, I think, the Peace Codes or something like that. It's about peace and it's about prayer, right? So I thought this is interesting. I didn't put two and two together, but as I started to hear about Three Eye Atlas, I was like, I just keep seeing this winged horse, but it's also
Mm.
got a horn and it is moving through a ring of fire. There is this sense of the portal of our rebirth is like I'm claiming my wholeness again. I'm claiming that if I have, for example, tried to find my wholeness in food or in a bottle or in smoking or in sex or in any of the things, right? Overcompensating, people pleasing, going for the next accolade, whatever your thing is, that's this part of the separation story. It's actually really learning to come from this intrinsic wholeness first and foremost, which is alien for us, right? So at the time that you and I were communicating about this, one of the things that absolutely fascinated me was, I just thought I'd Google it and look it up. But Pegasus came from the neck of Medusa,
Yeah.
right? The snake-headed, whatever,
Hmm.
The interesting thing is when we actually look at the story of Medusa, and I think this is so relevant to where we are today. We had the new moon in Scorpio, we're now coming towards the full moon in Gemini. Saturn's gone direct. There's all these things that have happened, right? That are like interesting, but very much as we're coming to the end of the age of patriarchy, there's been this whole energy around the feminine rising, and it's our turn again, and we get to be all, all powerful. And it's like, no, no, no. We are moving into the era of uniarchy, as I perceive it, which is the era of the divine child. And it's like mum and dad have grown up, they've dealt with their stuff. These are our internal mum and dad. And so they can be there to meet the needs of the child that wants to experience life in physicality and support them to thrive, support them to succeed by helping them embody who they need to be in order to have that experience that they call on. So not spoon feeding, they're not like doing it all for you. It's a different type of way of being brought to this space of this autonomy and sovereignty, and it's key. And what I found really interesting was the fact that Medusa was cursed by Athena.
Mm.
And I didn't know this. I had no idea. I mean, if we think of Athena, Athena's like the patron goddess of Athens, right? And like divine justice and all these other elements that come with it. But in the mythology, I'm trying to think now, was it Zeus?
Medusa was raped
She was raped. That was it. Was it
by
Neptune?
Poseidon.
Poseidon, thank you. So Poseidon raped her, and instead of instead of Medusa getting like some kind of support from Athena, she got cursed by her for like basically breaking the temple rules because she was supposed to be guarding the temple, right? And she wasn't meant to have any association with men. And as I say that, I can feel this in my womb because it feels like a betrayal of the feminine towards the feminine. And that's what we
And and it's the story, I agree. It is that betrayal. That, you know, we don't have time to go into it now, but when we talk of Atlantis, this betrayal really did happen in many ways. Um, a- and and yet Medusa's also the story of shadow work. Because the judgment of the other, the persecution of the other, all of it is about the journey of shadow work. And only when she looks at her own reflection does this trauma end. And then her head is chopped off and Pegasus flies out. And so she's the story of our collective shadow work, and the last cycle was in many ways the age of the deep healing and the shadow work.
Mm.
And the new cycle, that the year of the snake and Three Eye Atlas and everything right now is birthing. My guides are like, it's not so much about healing, actually. It's time to create, like it isn't about going into the shadows. It's about creating the new. Um, and so yeah, there is a really Medusa's a profound story for these times. And also, I agree with you about the male and the female. And my guides talk a lot about how this new age is an age of reflection.
Mm.
And, the male is electric and the female is magnetic. And when they are actually united, what you get is a mirror. which
Oh.
is how the beloved is able to reflect. It's
Just
how
say
the
one more
divine is
time.
able to reflect.
The masculine is the electric, the feminine is the magnetic. Say it again.
When they are truly united, what happens inside of you is a mirror energy, which means that your heart, your center, become a place where the beloved or the divine is reflected. And this is what those enlightened masters achieved. When we talk about separation, the greatest separation was between the masculine and the feminine inside of us.
Mm.
And the
Yeah.
separated masculine is the militarized masculine, and the separated feminine is the collapsed feminine.
Mm. Mm.
And neither of them work. We can see that really clearly on the collective.
Mm. Yeah, no, well, yeah, no, I love it. I think this is the thing is the evolution of us and actually even the betrayal wound of the feminine and Medusa looking in the mirror and seeing her own reflection. This is us owning without judging, without going into victim, without going into blame, into shame, and into guilt, because just being able to see there is a history, a her story that has led to now. And when we can understand that, we can have compassion and discernment and make the choice to go, well, I don't need to carry this on anymore, right? This is not something I need to live out anymore. And I think that is probably like what you just said, this is not about healing, it's about creating. The healing time's been done. We've had a really introspective year in terms of the year of the snake and the shedding the skins. And I invite everyone to really consider we're already in New Year energy. We've had Samhain, we're coming to solstice, we're then coming to Gregorian New Year, then the Chinese New Year, then the astrological New Year. Like it's all here. It's bam, bam, bam. And every new year, if you like, feels to me like a different level of this initiation. And so, what we're talking about is how we work with these energies rather than feeling like it's happening to us and, oh, this year's a good year, this year's a bad year. No, it's a year that is offering you an opportunity. And whatever opportunity is being offered, you can either resist, push away, contract, or lean in, meet it, breathe out, soften into it, and ask for it to be revealed, whatever it is that we're here to do. So I think this is important for us to then talk a little bit about what we've got moving on, like moving forward, because you and I are both initiators, right? We work with people to help initiate them and to help them integrate these energies and stabilize until they're ready for the next bit. And we also know that in this world, everyone has different energetic activations to have with different beings, right? So we're all part of this journey. And you and I've never really had a conversation like this before, and I'm really excited. I'm like, let's definitely have a conversation about Atlantis. Let's have a conversation about
So many things to talk about, Rosie.
this remembering, right? It's giving people a chance to go, oh yeah, I remember. So yes, I do want to do the work associated with this. Yes, I remember. Oh yeah, now I really do actually want to go down that route. So this is how you know you've landed in the right place.
Mm.
So first thing is for everybody, we are going to put the replay link for Kahreela's Three Eye Atlas transmission. That will be in the text box, and I'll make sure that's there because I feel it's really valuable and it's setting us up
Mm.
what is coming. Before we end this conversation, remind me please just for us to touch on Dragonfly and Phoenix energy as well. It's important, right? Just want
Oh
to
my
do
goodness.
that. The thing for me that I shared with Kahreela is that on 12/12 I'm doing an online free event, and it is really to bring as many people that are part of the StarPeace collective, right, together, all of the tribes, um, to actually go through that ring of fire, the portal, and to receive this gift again that has been missing, the thing that we felt separate from. And I know for me, when I did the work with you and I did the replay, initially it was worthiness, but it was actually also approval. I've never had approval. I've never approved of myself. So in allowing ourselves to go through a ritual, right? To go through a process where we're coming together online to mark the end of snake into horse, to do the final shedding, to show consciously we are quantum leaping into the new threshold. We're going into the new frequency, and quantum leaps are not, they come from all the little steps we've taken, right? That allowed us to then take flight and spread our wings. And it does feel to me like there's a lot of magic available to us. So when I'm doing the online thing, it will just be 90 minutes, not going to be a super long one. I want to let
Mm.
people know what's available, right? And to kind of be aware of their next steps. And both you and I are hosting separate in-person events on the solstice, so on the 21st. 3
Mhm.
Atlas is closest to the Earth, you said on the 19th, right?
The 19th, yeah.
So an
And
interesting,
the solstice is the integration, right? Like the whole year gets embodied on the solstice.
mm, the new year.
That's where that's where the solstice is. So integration happens in stillness. And the solstice, whether it is the summer or the winter, is the closest we get to 0 point. It's when it can actually arrive. It's when it can actually digest.
Mm.
And
I've got,
very important to be in ceremony. You know, th- it, I think whoever you go, however you do ceremony, that doesn't matter. But in these unprecedented times, we need the old language that brings us into relationship with the cosmos and the earth. And the old language is ceremony. No good if you're just doing affirmations, it's not going to work.
mm.
You're speaking English to stars, they don't speak English.
They speak
And
language.
trees and mushrooms, and they need you to be in their language so they can help you because we cannot do this on our own because that's the nature of separation consciousness. Humans in relationship are the opposite of separation consciousness. And that's why you've got to go and be in ceremony, whether it's with me, with Rosie, on your own, with someone else, it doesn't matter. But you've got to be in ceremony.
And that is a very important thing, I think, for a lot of people, especially on a spiritual journey. They kind of open themselves up, work with different teachers, but then have this sense of, I need to do it all on my own. I need to be able to do this, to not need anyone. And it's that's not how we work. We're interconnected. Like, find your tribe, stay connected to your tribes, like keep plugging in, keep feeding this.
And your nervous system, if your ancestral nervous system is on your own, it's going to be in survival mode.
Mm,
The
mm,
worst thing for your ancestral nervous system is to be on your own.
mm,
And so if you are trying to override your ancestral nervous system, you cannot cause it to go into hypervigilance. It's impossible.
Ah, I love what you're saying. Okay, well, I'm cool.
Possible.
My event's called the Womb of Peace, and we're
Okay.
gathering in. It's going to be here near Brighton, so it's actually Crawley area, but it's a really
Mm,
beautiful venue I've found, and yeah, it's to come and reset for 4 hours. Like I just want everybody who feels the call to come in. We'll be in cacao ceremony, and then I'm going to be really offering moving into the womb, being in our womb energy, the womb of creation, the womb of the planet, and actually
mm,
just feeding peace, accessing it, feeding it through our systems. And actually, my guides have said to me, right, we're going to do some really gentle partner work. Some of it's coming from the postnatal work I used to do around
mm,
just gentle holding, allowing the spinal fluids to keep working, recalibrating the cerebral fluid, just coming home. So
mm,
it will be a physical but very gentle. We're not doing hard yoga or anything like that. If anyone is interested, it's going to be from 2 till 6 or 2:30 to 6:30. And what we're going to do, Kahreela, please say in a minute what you're doing as well. Because we haven't got the links out for anyone yet, please just put in the comments what you're interested in. If it's
mm,
12:12, if it's the 21st Kahreela, 21st Rosie, just put it in the comments and make sure that you are following us somewhere we can DM you. So whether
mm.
that's Instagram, whether that's TikTok, whether the easiest thing would be to join our mailing lists, realistically, if you go to rosyglow.com or is it Starlight Temple?
Starlight Dash Temple.
Starlight
Starlight Hyphen Temple.
temple.com.
Mm.
Um, that way you will have access to everything. So we're broadcasting the signal right now. It's like, hey, we're here. If you are feeling this, this is for you. Come in. And what is exciting you? Tell us. Tell me what you're
Mm.
doing on the 21st time.
Well, I'm doing a 4-day journey in Avebury, which is the mother, mother of my path. And so yeah, you can come to parts of it or you can come to the whole thing, but that's where I'll be integrating this very major year of uh, ceremonies and land tantra. And actually, as we're speaking, just because of where this conversation went, um, if you're interested in the Gaia portal stuff, this weekend you can be part of the field of the land tantra that's happening in Japan by being part of the held in prayer ceremony. And everybody that's in that ceremony will receive the coding. And it's just such a beautiful ceremony to do because everybody offers a prayer. And actually, you were going to come and do something in that ceremony. So you get both of us.
Yeah, there, I didn't even know I was going to be that. Great.
Yeah, do you remember we spoke about it? And I'm just like, "Ugh." So,
Yeah. I'm speaking.
and then we're both in Brighton at the New Earth Festival in March for the March equinox, which is really when the year of the like that's when, you know, this journey into the new year is with the astrological new year. That's the like finale of it all, really, isn't it? So that's when the
So the
horses are actually
Pegasus is
on
taking
fire and
flight.
winged and unicorn.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it's a 2 day event, the new Earth.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll be speaking at it, you're organizing it, you've got the lovely Solara there as well, and many other beautiful speakers as well, right? So
Yeah, Steve Noble, some amazing people. Tanishka, the Moon Woman, amazing people.
brilliant. Well, I love that these things are coming now and they're happening. I will offer two other, like I've been invited to offer the same event, but it will be slightly different in January and in February as a full day
Oh,
reset. And that's
nice.
about making the shift. It's accessing the Trojan Horse of Peace. And it's really about us embodying the energies of the fire horse and being able to integrate and, finally kind of root down anything that is from the year of the snake just really being left. But that's why we're doing the womb of peace on the 21st, that we're clear, ready for January, ready for February, and able to feel these energies coming in and to play with them, work with them. So it's a divine alignment that then opens up the space to receive these codes and consider where we want to direct our focus as well. Because I think for everyone who's listening, I'll feel pretty certain that there's at least one area of your life that you'll feel you are really on point, right? You're offering, that you're receiving, things are in flow. And it's like, why don't the other areas of my life work like that? What's going on that means some of this is really easy and this stuff's really hard. And what we want to do is take this coding and say, well, how can we now align all these other areas with this? And that's why we're going to run the Liberation from Limitation course online as a 2 week intensive. And that will be in January. There'll be more information coming. But that's a nervous system rewrite. And it's a narrative rewrite, not a nervous system rewrite. It's a narrative
Maybe it's a nervous system rewrite too.
part of it, but the nervous system rewrite is part of a 6 month journey that we really take people on. So just, I think it's very important to remember whatever you're called to next is your next step. Please don't expect it all to be done, because every time you integrate something, another doorway opens. And this is exciting. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. You're just ready for more codes. And if you
Mm,
deal with the lack consciousness and the time pressure and all the things that normally mean you can't make an autonomous decision, like from a true yes or true no. It's actually dictated by circumstance, let's say.
mm,
We want to challenge that. That's what the Pegasus is about. It's creating freedom where you have only known restriction by recognizing why that restriction has been in place and honoring there was a necessity for it that you called it in. And as part of
mm.
the separation thing. Anyway, the point with all of this is the menu's there. Kahreela runs also an amazing channeling course. So I think the
Oh,
important thing is just get on our mailing lists and come and find out more and try things out. You know,
yeah.
tonight, and
And don't do it on your own. Just don't do it on your own.
can't do it on your own. And this is the point. It's
Oh,
the biggest fallacy. It's like when a mother in the Western world has a baby and goes, well, I mustn't create a rod for my own back. So I'm just going to put them in their own room to sleep on their own from the moment they're a newborn so they can get used to being independent.
then their Gaia portal doesn't develop.
This is nonsense, my friends. And this is the betrayal of the feminine. Okay, this is the wound that the woman has afflicted on the next woman, right? It is the advice from the midwife, the doctor, the mother that means well, but because of the way she parented you, she can't tell you don't do it like that, right? So there's a lot of for the giving to do, and there's also a lot of compassion to feel for everyone because the best intentions were there. They were just misinformed, right?
And it was the age of separation.
That was it. It needed to happen. What's happened has needed to happen. And
Absolutely. You couldn't have been enlightened in the age of separation. You would have been persecuted.
we all were, by the way, and we remember.
What happened to all of the Ascended Masters? You needed to survive till now. Do you see what I mean? Like you needed to survive. You needed to be a child of separation and a child of the patriarchy and a child of survival mode in order to be here now.
You had
So
to
you can
wear the
do what you
suit.
need.
You had to wear the sort of, it's almost like a camouflage, is the way I'm seeing it, to be able to be here, to then act in stealth and bring the light codes through remembering, right? So, everything that needs to be revealed will be revealed at the next level. And tonight I'm going to be hosting the Lunar Alchemy Live, which is part of my, super entry level membership for people who want to know more about how to work with the energies that I do, as Kahreela has her own memberships too. And it's like, the energy of Gemini full moon for me is really about integrating the shadow and the light within. It's like really owning your true voice is all of your shadow and all of your light. And it's actually choosing to own your inner manipulator because we all have a way that we show up. We all have many ways that we've learned to get what we want, right? We've adapted to our environments so that we can survive. But now there's a different adaptation required so that we can thrive in these environments or create. So shifting from the master manipulator to what I call the magnetic magician, knowing that magic can be used for light, for dark, but choosing to be guided by the force of source. And I love, may the force be with you as your previous podcast. It's like when we allow the force of source to flow through us and to be led by that, we can't abuse our power. And I think that's the thing that most of us, everyone I see who's a light leader struggling, has created so many sabotage blocks around them to test their mastery that they won't abuse their power again and again until they really trust themselves to know, okay, I have the integrity to own this fully. Back to you, Creed. I want to just give the space for particularly anything else you want to let people know about, but also let's do Dragonfly and let's do Phoenix.
Let's do Dragonfly and just join the mailing list. I think that's the best thing to say. Dragonflies. So they are present. Like the so there is a they're here. Um there's a fairy tribe from Inner Earth that are the Dragonfly fairy tribe. And they are up in our realm at the moment, and they're really working with the land, like massively. To the point that when me and Solara were doing Land Tantra in September in Glastonbury, there were dragonflies everywhere. I've never seen so many dragonflies in England. And then we took that work to the land of the golden thread in Sinai,
Mm.
which is the desert, and there
Mm.
was a dragonfly in the middle of the desert. You know, like they are just, if you are of this tribe and you're seeing dragonflies, it's because you need to know you're of this lineage because
That's insane. That's just insane.
insane, right? Insane. Like and I cannot tell you how many dragonflies have been around this landwork and it's because this fairy tribe are showing themselves to ones of their lineage. And you know, you're talking about power. The root meaning of the word magic and the root meaning of the word power are the same. They mean to be able. So all it means is power,
To be able.
to be able. That's what power means, and that's what magic means. But, we really need old magic at this time. And very much like this is why I'm saying don't do it alone because actually we're up against forces of magic is the truth. And we have to fight magic with magic. You can't fight magic without magic. It doesn't work. You know, and so we need our magical allies.
Mm.
And
Yes. Just give me the line again. What do they both mean? Because it's just left
to
power,
be able,
able. You see, this is the thing. It's so obvious, and then it's like no,
so
in
obvious.
time to be able. And this was like I had such an issue with the word command for a long time because I thought, well, command can really come from I command that there can be a fear place coming from it, but actually, when you're choosing to command, you're choosing to own your power to what was it again?
Be able.
Be able, whatever it is, to be able to be in love, to be wealthy, to be healthy, to be on purpose, to be able.
And magic makes you able, you know, working with magic makes you able.
And yet we've had so many distortions in the field around magic and around because I've recently, been learning more about the Voodooan tradition and how that's been taken out of context. And it's like everything. The first time I ever went to a goddess gathering, I was 18, and I remember being terrified. Like I was having all these crazy dreams. And I thought they were going to get snakes out in this circle, and we were all going to dance naked. And if the snake bit us, then we'd be safe. I don't know what I was imagining, right? But that was my indoctrinated fear. And basically, I remember speaking to the high priestess about it. And she just looked at me and she just said, "Scared is sacred scrambled." And that
Hmm.
really landed for me. One of those statements, right? So working with dragonfly energy, I mean, isn't it interesting all these mythical creatures as well? But dragonflies are real. But we're talking here about the phoenix, the unicorn.
Fairies, the unicorns, but they are the bridges. Like anything that with a name has consciousness. If you can name it, it has consciousness. You can channel it,
Mm,
and they might not be in our realm, but they are the bridges that our beliefs are able to reach
mm.
because we can name them, which means that parts of us believe in them. Parts of us believe in their energy and their power. And right now, we need to be beyond our limitations because we have the very difficult task of manifesting a whole new reality. And so we need these bridge creatures. Like we need we need these we need these um beings that hang out in the liminal between our limits and the edges of, like they're still in our consciousness because we're naming them and everybody knows what they are.
Mm, mm,
I've channeled things that nobody knows what they are. They're very hard to relate to.
mm,
They're very hard to, they don't have mythology that we can make sense of.
mhm.
These beings are so important because they take us beyond our limits, but not so far. They help us be able to create miracles.
This
That's
this
what they do. They are the keepers of the miracle realm.
and what would you define as a miracle?
Something that happens outside of your limitations.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
It's not actually mine, it's Tash Mitch's, but it's a very beautiful
I
statement.
write that in textbooks as well. Say that again. Something
Something that happens outside of your limitations.
is that my definition? I'll just write that down. Outside
That
of
was Tash Mitch that said that to me.
Ash Mitch, we honor you. Um, for me, it's like a
And
shift in perspective that allows the impossible to become possible. That's how I.
yeah. And the thing is the next age is an age. To me, the next cycle is a cycle of magical activism and miracles.
Oh, and that doesn't that feel good? Like when we yesterday's conversation was, as I said, it was about how we reclaim really our autonomy around birth and how we birth without fear and violence, and actually how we we establish this connection between the planetary ecosystem and our bodily ecosystem, right? On so many levels. But what we talked about was brainwashing. That actually we have been brainwashed for so long, right? So we are going through a different process of brainwashing. We are brainwashing the mind of the system towards a different perception, a different physiology, a different way of being in our own selves, right? It's got to happen because in here are all the reasons locked in, the patterns, the computer programs in the brain that keep us looping in these cycles of separation. So yes, you do. We all need to. And that's why people freak out, like, oh my God, I've become part of a cult. It's like, no one's telling you what you have to believe, right? But you will have to challenge everything you think you know and everything you think is true because of the way that we've been taught to believe things, the thoughts. Anyway, take me to where do you want to ground this out today?
You know, we've covered so many things, and we've stretched across so many different realms of our reality and our consciousness. And I think the place to end is the heart. So do what causes your heart to get bigger and brighter and more alive and hopefully more reflective. Because ascension, if it doesn't happen through the heart, it doesn't happen through the body. And if it doesn't happen through the body, it isn't going to materialize into the 3D. And ascension in the energy world is very easy to do. That's why we can be like, I'm off to see Pegasus and I'm off to see third eye. That's not the hard bit. The hard bit is to make it happen on the 3D level, on the material. And that can only happen through our hearts. And so keep tending to the nervous system and serving the heart. And know that if you are in physical form today, you are a master at what you are here to do, because this is the critical moment of ascension. And there is no way that the best players aren't on the pitch. There is no way. The fact you are alive is proof enough that you are here to do something amazing. And that's all you need to know right now. The rest, just follow the heart.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. I love that. Well, I don't feel like I need to add anything to that. I think I'm going to stop saying I think, just say I feel. The main message here is all of that lovely, sparkly, glittery, shiny stuff that we love to go towards becomes so much more available to us when we really let ourselves be in the mud, in the void, in the darkness, in the stuff that we like to avoid. And that's how we bring our light to that empty hole. So for anyone that has really felt that, because, you know, I think there's a lot of conversations about addictions as well and being addicts, and we're all addicts, right? We're all addicts. What are we addicted to? And it's a question of choosing now, being discerning to say, well, what do I want to plug into? What really, really feeds me? What gives me access to not stimulation? And I have been a stimulation junkie. I don't want to say, I'm not going to speak ill of myself, but you know, that I get that, right? Especially if there's any kind of neurodivergence and it's like dopamine hits and all the rest of it. It's like, what is sustainable? What is regenerative? What can we plug into as we're all making the shift from being, you know, let's just use the analogy, wired to survive is, you know, running on fossil fuels, finite resource, to being wired to thrive is really, this is oxytocin dominance, but it's like shifting your circuitry to be a hydrogen engine rather than running off petrol or diesel or whatever it is. So It's a complete system upgrade. It's not going to like feel comfortable, not initially, but you can really, when you choose to align with your highest timeline, your highest path, I think the magic just grows. It really just grows. So I want to leave that there and thank everybody who's participating, because as you're listening, as you're feeling us, you're activating these codes in your life, right? So thank you so much, Kahreela. And for anyone who's catching this on YouTube, thanks for the follows. Thanks for the questions. Like, please do comment. Let us know how you're finding this and what you'd like further conversations on.
And thank you, Rosie, for your beautiful path and for being this beacon of light and star peace.
You're so welcome. I'm so excited about it. It's all happening now. It's like this is the year to just share it with the world, right? So thank you for your beautiful work, darling, and enjoy. And yeah, please do like drop me the details for this week so they get it. Right? Mwah. All right.
No,
Love
big hug.
everybody. Take care for now. Bye.